Once upon a time, in the bustling city of Baghdad, nestled in the heart of a vast empire, there lived a renowned Muslim king named Haroon al-Rashid. He was not just any ruler, oh no. Haroon al-Rashid was a beacon of justice, fairness, and piety, known throughout the land for his wisdom and his deep reverence for Allah Almighty. Now, you might ask, what made this king truly remarkable? Was it his majestic throne adorned with gold and precious gems, or was it his formidable army that struck fear into the hearts of their enemies? Well, those were impressive, yes. But the source of the king's greatness lay in something far more profound: his unwavering commitment to justice and his deep-rooted fear of Allah. Every night after the people had retired to their beds, lulled by the gentle sounds of the sleeping city, Haroon al-Rashid would shed his royal robes and don the simplest of garments. He would then venture out into the streets, not as a mighty king, but as an ordinary citizen, his face hidden behind a veil so that none would recognize him. He wanted to see for himself how his people were faring, to discover their joys and sorrows, their triumphs and struggles. One particular night, as the king was strolling through the darkened alleys, he heard the soft sobs of a woman. Her voice, heavy with despair, cut through the silence of the night. He followed the sound and found a poor woman sitting in her humble abode, her eyes streaming with tears. Her children, all thin and emaciated, huddled around her, their tiny bodies racked with hunger. "Oh, my little ones," the woman whispered, trying to compose herself, "go to sleep. We don't have food tonight, but Allah willing, we will eat tomorrow." As the king stood there listening, his heart ached for these innocent children. He wanted to help them, but how could he, a pauper himself, dressed in worn-out clothes? What could he offer these children who were already on the brink of starvation? Yet, as a Muslim, he knew he could not stand by while those in need suffered. So he turned and left, but not without making a plan to return. Hurrying back to the palace, he filled a sack with flour, rice, and dates, enough to sustain the family for many days, and then he set out again, his heart pounding in his chest. This time he knocked on the door of the humble abode. The woman, startled by the sudden knock, opened the door a crack, and there stood a stranger with a sack at his feet. Without hesitation, Haroon al-Rashid stepped inside. With a kind smile, he placed the sack at her feet and said, "Here, take this. It will sustain you and your children for a while." Overcome with gratitude, the woman reached out to take the sack, her trembling hands betraying her exhaustion and despair. But as she did, her gaze met the king's. Recognition dawned on her face, and she cried out in surprise, "Oh, my king!" Haroon al-Rashid, noticing the woman's surprise, quickly explained, "Do not be afraid. I am here to help you and your children. Take this gift from Allah and do not tell anyone that you received it from me." With that, he turned and left, once again disappearing into the shadows of the night. The woman, tears of joy streaming down her face, embraced her children. The king's generosity brought a new lease of life to their home, chasing away the darkness of despair and hunger. She distributed the food among her children, and they ate together, their laughter echoing in the small house. As for Haroon al-Rashid, he walked back to the palace, his heart full of contentment. He had eased the suffering of a poor family, and that he knew was a far greater reward than any jewel or treasure. And so, my dear listeners, the story of Haroon al-Rashid reminds us that true greatness lies not in one's status or power, but in one's humility and compassion. May Allah Almighty bless us all with the strength to help those in need and the wisdom to lead with justice and fairness. That was the story of the king who walked among his people in disguise, teaching us valuable lessons about humility and service. If you liked this story, don't forget to hit the like button and share it with your friends and family. Your support motivates us to keep bringing you more inspiring content.